Hello everyone and welcome to MediSimplified. So today we are going to talk about the gray topics of ENT. Gray means the facts where we tend to confuse or we miss in examination and we mark wrong, and the question has been asked on those topics. So starting with the first thing, that is thyroplasty. Okay, so thyroplasty. So there are four types of thyroplasty: type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4. Each thyroplasty has been done, the process like lateralization, medialization, and for what purpose it is done. So type 1 is doing the medialization of the vocal cord. अब medialization कब करेंगे? जब adductor palsy होगी, मतलब दोनों साइड का जो vocal cord है अंदर नहीं आ पा रहा है ना, adduct नहीं हो पा रहा, तब at that time when the vocal cord are not able to be adducted, we do type 1 thyroplasty, that is adduction, right? Medialization of the vocal cord. So type 1 thyroplasty is medialization of the vocal cord, and we do it in bilateral adductor palsy. Now type 2 lateralization, when the vocal cords are not able to abduct. Okay, जब vocal cord बाहर की तरफ नहीं जा पा रहा, तब हम lateralization करेंगे, मतलब बाहर के साइड लेके जाएंगे. So type 2 is lateralization we do when the vocal cords are not able to abduct. Okay, so type 2 is lateralization done in bilateral abductor palsy. Bilateral abductor palsy. Now type 3 is shortening of the vocal cord done in pleurophonia, and type 4 is lengthening of vocal cord done in androphonia. Now here are four topics of which treatment is being asked and we tend to forget or do be confused in examination also. First is treatment of vocal nodule. So for vocal nodule, remember, we do speech therapy. Okay, so this should be your answer: nodule, speech therapy. Whereas in polyp we do MLS. What is MLS? It is micro laryngeal surgery. Microlaryngeal surgery. Okay, now next is Rinke's edema. What we do in Rinke's edema, the treatment of choice is decortication. Decortication. Now what is this decortication means? It means stripping the vocal cord. It means stripping of vocal cords. Now last is functional aphonia. Functional aphonia commonly seen in females. Common in females. Okay, and what we do, we don't do any intervention by ENT. We refer the patient to psychiatric consultation. So treatment of functional aphonia, if it is asked, it is psychiatric consultation. Okay, so remember this four treatment very well. That is, treatment of vocal nodule is speech therapy, vocal polyp is microlaryngeal surgery, treatment of choice for Rinke's edema is decortication, that is stripping of the vocal cord, and treatment of functional aphonia, which is commonly seen in females, is psychiatric consultation. Now going further, now we are going to talk about treatment of choice, of which, of what? ASOM, glue ear, safe CSOM, and unsafe CSOM. So remember, if the ASOM is with bulging tympanic membrane, we do myringotomy. We do myringotomy. And where, in which quadrant of tympanic membrane we do myringotomy? We do it in posterior inferior quadrant. Posterior inferior quadrant. Okay. Now glue ear. In glue ear also we will do myringotomy. But there is a device called as grommet, something like this. Okay, we insert it in the tympanic membrane. So myringotomy with grommet insertion. With grommet insertion. And the question, if it is asked where we do insert grommet most commonly, then the answer is anterior-inferior quadrant. Okay, so remember this two thing very well, that myringotomy is done commonly in posterior inferior quadrant, which is a treatment of choice for ASOM with bulging tympanic membrane. Whereas glue ear, we do myringotomy with grommet insertion in the anterior inferior quadrant, anterior inferior quadrant. Now talking about CSOM, there are two types of CSOM, safe and unsafe. So for safe, we do myringoplasty. Myringoplasty. Whereas for unsafe, we do MRM. What is MRM? It is modified radical Mastoidectomy. Okay, so these are once again 4 out of 4. One thing is usually asked in exam, that what is the treatment of choice, and we tend to forget or be confused. So remember this 4 thing. Now going further, there are some cases in ENT. They are seen in some disease. So first is presbycusis. What is presbycusis? It is age-related sensorineural hearing loss, age-related SNHL. Now, where do we see paracusis villi? We see it in otosclerosis. Where we see diplocusis, we see diplocusis in Meniere's disease. And where do we see hyperacusis? We see hyperacusis in Bell's palsy. Okay, so these are the 4 cases which we should remember. Presbycusis is age-related sensorineural hearing loss. Paracusis villi is seen in otosclerosis. Diplocusis is seen in Meniere's disease, and hyperacusis is seen in Bell's palsy. Now, recent updates. There are many different answers given by different notes or different books, but the recent update regarding the most common cause of epiglottitis is Streptococcus pneumoniae. Okay, so Streptococcus pneumoniae is the most common cause of epiglottitis. If it is not given in the answer, then Haemophilus influenza type B, okay, will be the answer. In many places, H influenza type B is written, but the most common causative organism or most common cause of epiglottitis now is Streptococcus pneumoniae. Another one is, which of the following muscle causes trismus? The correct answer now is medial pterygoid. Earlier, somewhere it was written lateral pterygoid, but now the correct answer is medial pterygoid. Okay, now permissible noise level in industries. Okay, now it is 85 decibel. If 85 decibel is not given in the answer, then the answer should be 90 decibel. But remember, 85 decibel is the better or correct answer about the permissible noise level in industry. Now, drainage. One question is asked from this topic, so I have chosen it. So drainage, what gets drained in the supraethmoidal recess? It is superior. Sorry, it is not superior. It is sphenoid sinus. Sphenoid sinus. Supraethmoidal recess में sphenoid sinus drain करेगा. Then what drains into superior meatus? It is posterior ethmoidal cell. Posterior ethmoidal cells or air cells. You can call it sinus. We call commonly it as sinus, but it is posterior ethmoidal air cells. In middle meatus, many things open. What are those things? One is frontal sinus. Next is maxillary sinus. Okay, max sinus, that is maxillary sinus, and anterior ethmoidal air cell. Okay, now inferior meatus, what will drain in inferior meatus? Nasolacrimal duct, NLD, nasolacrimal duct. Now this nasolacrimal, there is an operation called as DCR, dacrorhinocystectomy. In that, if it is done, then the NLD opens into middle meatus. Okay, so this is can be a clinical question that after dacrorhinocystectomy, where does the nasolacrimal duct open? It opens into middle meatus. Now going further, direct one-liner, I want you to remember that direct clinical cases. I want you to remember, if there is a diabetic patient and you got a question from ENT, then it can be only 2 things. Either it can be mucormycosis or it can be malignant otitis externa. Okay, so if in question first you will check patient is young or old. Okay, if it is old patient, then it will be an ear disease called as malignant otitis externa. But if in a diabetic young patient, nose will be questioned, then it is mucormycosis. ठीक है, so diabetes का question आएगा, और अगर young patient दिया है और nose की disease है तो mucormycosis, diabetic patient है, old patient है, ear disease है तो malignant otitis externa. Similarly, vascular tumor, ठीक है, अगर vascular tumor की बात हो रही है तो vascular tumor में पहले अपन check करेंगे gender, if it is male or it is a female. In female, pulsatile tinnitus and bleeding ear mass will be given in the history, and the answer will be glomus jugulare. Okay, similarly, if in male young boy epistaxis is the history and it is a vascular tumor, it will be an angiofibroma. Okay, so vascular tumor, first we'll check male or female. If it is male, then it will be a young boy with a history of epistaxis. Then it will be the answer will be angiofibroma. Whereas if it is a female with a vascular tumor, it will be a pulsatile. She will complain of a pulsatile tinnitus and bleeding ear mass will be seen, and the answer there will be glomus jugulare. Okay. Now going further, two important triads I want you guys to remember for the exam. Okay, first is Grednigo syndrome, second is Samter's triad. So Grednigo, I remember it by GERD, G-E-R-D. What is Grednigo syndrome? We see ear discharge, we see retroorbital pain, we see diplopia, not diplocusis, diplopia. So that is the mnemonic to remember. GERD. Okay, Grednigo syndrome, ear discharge, retroorbital pain, and diplopia. In Samter's triad, we usually learn Samter's triad due to nasal polyp in ENT. So nasal polyp. Okay, allergic to aspirin. Then next is what else we see in Grednigo Samter's triad? It is asthma. So these are the three things seen in Samter's triad: nasal polyp, allergic to aspirin, and asthma. Whereas Grednigo syndrome, GERD, ear discharge, retroorbital pain, and diplopia. Now, important signs which I want you guys to remember: Henneberg sign is seen in congenital syphilis. Heiselberger sign is seen in acoustic neuroma. Rising sign and Brown sign, both are seen in glomus jugulare. Graysinger sign is seen in lateral or sigmoid sinus thrombophlebitis. Where do we see cartwheel sign? Cartwheel sign is seen in ASOM. Okay. Now going further, tripod sign and thumb sign. This is seen in epiglottitis. Whereas steeple sign is seen in on X-ray in ALTB, that is acute laryngotracheal bronchitis, or we can call it as croup. Remember, thumb sign is also seen on X-ray, and tripod sign is a physical appearance. Sign. Okay. Style sits like this for getting rest. And thumb sign, you'll see the epiglottis in thumb shape, and steeple sign is seen in ALTB or croup. Reservoir sign and lighthouse sign. Where do we see reservoir sign and lighthouse sign? We see both of them in acute mastoiditis. Okay. Whereas target or halo sign is seen in traumatic CSF leak. We also call it as CSF rhinorrhea. Okay. Last is delta sign on CT scan. Where do we see delta sign? We see it on a CT scan in which disease? We see it in, again, sigmoid sinus thrombophlebitis. Whereas antral or Holman-Miller sign is seen in angiofibroma. Next is the best X-ray views, which is asked commonly in exam. So for maxillary sinus, the best view is Waters view. For frontal sinus and ethmoid sinus, together is Caldwell's view. And best view for sphenoid sinus is lateral view of X-ray skull. Okay, so these are few points I wanted you guys to remember. First was the chiroplasty, then the treatment of vocal cord, vocal nodule, vocal functional aphonia, treatment of choice in ASOM, CSOM, blue ear, and unsafe CSOM, the clues, the recent update, which you should not miss anytime. Okay, star mark. It can be asked now because it almost updated 2 years ago. Then the drainage, and if it is a diabetic, old patient, ear disease, malignant otitis externa, diabetes, young patient with nose disease, mucormycosis, vascular tumor, female, pulsatile tinnitus and bleeding ear mass, glomus jugulaire, male, young boy, epistaxis, angiofibroma. Triad, Brednigo, GERD, Brednigo, ear discharge, retroorbital pain and diplopia, Samter's triad, nasal polyp, allergic to aspirin and asthma. Important signs and the best X-rays used. All the best. Thank you for watching this video. I hope this was useful and will help you in your exam. So do share your views about the video after you pass the exam or after you give the exam. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you find this video useful. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe my channel, MediSimplified. Thank you.